all gets done, and we are going to get back into the game. So level 1, let's talk a little bit about this quick shot. Can we expect any action to come down? I think the fact that these teams have one win between them so far might mean that we're in for a bit of a passive game as well.
I think that's a very accurate statement. You know, until these teams have their ultimates, I don't expect to see too much happening. You know, Godbro's really going to want to get those evolved Void Spikes, maybe even wait a little bit longer. He's got a lot of early game damage, but so does Samix's Elise. You know, going to be able to put a lot of percentage HP damage down. So the top lane's going to be the one that we need to keep an eye on. But I think until you've got that Ash Arrow and the Twisted Fate Destiny, I don't expect the Giants to be overly aggressive. They are proving me wrong by going up and putting a very early ward in the Wraith camp, but they're not really looking for anything other than vision and for information to keep an eye on Svenskeren and Kale when he's going for that red buff and when to expect him in the lanes.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot actually of that push from Evil Geniuses in particular. They've gone more pink ward heavy on that one in the past, either, you know, when they've seen a ward go down in the river early on, or even that far up as we've just seen the ward come down from Giants. This time wasn't a pink ward. No pink wards actually on the field at this early stage of things. So as we probably expected after they had that little bit of a scouting mission, a little bit more passive. Actually, Wraiths were done by Ash and Sona. They're going to do the golems there as well, are they? No, they're not. They're actually going to pass by, I guess, not wanting to lose too much health before they actually get into their lane. But that gives them a nice little boost to kick off.
Yes, if they manage to combo that, you know, early advantage of the volley and possibly the crystal arrows, plus some of the poke that Babette is going to be able to put down with her passive, you know, the power chord, it's a pretty squishy Caitlyn. Deficio's shield, that help picks, is not very, very high or very powerful at these low ranks, so they may play quite aggressive. The last time Jim Bones played Ash, Babette was playing Nunu, so that was the bot lane AD support combo, but obviously with the CC heavy comps they've been running, they decided to swap it out to Sona instead.
Yeah, we should probably mention as well, since Nunu, I find Kaltard's taking a lot of damage here, gets slowed down, but Giants not going to push it out. But back to my point anyway about Nunu, that obviously he did have that bit of a hit in here. His Blood Boil gives him less attack speed plus less movement speed as well at the start. So that's, I think, why we've seen this Nunu being yet less utilized throughout these last 2 days.
Just a little bit less of an attractive pick, and you know that lower the bottom lane engagement as Kaltard was dropped so low. Jim Bones just hit level 2. He got the volley, carried on chasing a little bit more. If Babette had maybe got a power core off, it could have potentially set them up for a kill. In this middle lane, both of our champions, you know, for Exter and for Ellenlord, running a little bit low on mana. Exter's going to be able to pop himself back up relatively quickly, but they've been very aggressive against one another, putting a lot of damage down and trading very, very early on, not waiting to pick these fights.
And look at this, Svenskeren is in the bush. We saw him doing a lot of work in the bottom lane in that last game. Deficio actually is going to get in there. Doesn't have a pink ward on him, although Caitlyn does ironically have that pink ward right now in her arsenal. So I'd expect that to go down if they want to push Svenskeren through. The question is, will they really think about that one? They've put a normal ward down of their own as Bro does take a bit of damage in that top lane. Will just jump himself back to safety. Extermin also in the middle lane took some damage, but Svenskeren is still waiting here in the bush, and they're going to go for it.
We'll see if they can get the slow down, but unfortunately not. Turn the attention to Jim Bones. The 90 caliber net throws Kaltard forwards. Jim Bones forced to use barrier. One more attack may have been enough, but he does flash to safety. Flash, barrier blown, as well as the flash for Babette. A good gank overall. The next time they go aggressive, they might be able to pick up a kill.
Yeah, and from Wolves' side, look at those summoner spells, all intact. No flash, cleanse, or exhaust used from the support or the AD carry. In fact, even Svenskeren, as I said, didn't use that smite either. So that's great news from Wolves right off the get-go.
Ellenlord also forced Exter to back in that middle lane. They were trading back and forth the entire time. And, you know, it hasn't cost Exter any farm just yet, but he was forced out of that lane. He was very, very low on HP. You can see he's already picked up a null magic mantle and a couple extra pots. So Ellenlord is already stomping some authority. Ellenlord has gone back to pick up his Tear of the Goddess as well. And Exter back to 50% HP. You know, he's been in lane 10, 15 seconds. Ellenlord's doing a great job of setting the tone of this mid lane.
Yeah, Ellenlord just that little bit behind on CS, but that will be fixed here with these three, if you can actually get them in the end. Those three caster minions that were coming in there as well. More wards being put down in this bottom lane. Jimbo's, despite that gank coming out earlier on, is ahead of Cowtard as well in this bottom lane. We know, that Kennen, Jimbo's his real go-to champion, but his Ashe has also proved to be very, very strong in the previous games that we've seen it as well. Let's have a look at this top lane, because Morden is actually just working his way in towards the back. Nigo, bro, we're actually going to see the teleport in bottom.
We'll see. Does he have the ultimate? Not just yet. Lands the attack and the dissonance. Exhaust comes down onto Forellenlord and they immediately start backing off. Forellenlord used that teleport. I'm trying to look at what level he is. He's about, a couple hundred XP away from level 6. If that shockwave was there, it definitely could have secured them first blood. But a little bit too antsy. The ants in the pants just letting him go too quickly as Godbro gets caught.
Yeah, getting flipped over there by Morden. Are they going to go in? Repel comes down right on top of Godbro. Well, look at that. Morden going very, very low, but the first blood is picked up by Samox. Morden did survive it as well. It was real touch and go stuff, but the bear managing to have enough HP, and look how much he's regen there already, by the way. And that's just the beauty of him getting in under the tower so early on. First blood Giants.
6 seconds of regen from his passive manages to save him from those ticks of ignite and from the damage under the turret, and at least getting first blood is never a good sign. She's a pretty heavy snowball champion. Gombe picked up a Doran's ring as well as that ruby crystal to help survive some of the damage that Godbro's Kha'Zix is going to be putting down. But if they can, keep landing those ganks, keep getting some kills, and snowball Samox's Elise, they're going to be very, very happy with that.
So now Forellenlord back into this middle lane. Going to be working his way back up with the CS. And that's what kind of surprised me, because they were pushed up already in that bottom lane. If he'd have just waited for that next wave of creeps, he probably needed 3 of them at most to actually hit level 6 and get down there. That was a kill, to be honest, for Wolves coming out. But that's all ifs and buts. Extermin here going to get himself his blue buff. Just waits for the wild cards there to have enough damage. That's going to be helping him out. Forellenlord on the other side of the map will also be helped out by Svenskeren to pick up his.
And of course, that's a situation of having a completely new bottom lane. Not only do you have Cowtard, who was middle playing AD, Forellenlord, who wasn't even on the team, playing middle, and Deficio there. The 3 of them tried to set up that gank, and they weren't exactly in the same gear at the same time. So a little bit of a calling or a little bit of a miscommunication in terms of timing and when to go cost them that first blood. But they're not too far behind in gold right now. We see that Extra's Twisted Fate gone for the Mercury Treads first, going to get that movement speed as well as the damage reduction from, obviously, all of the magic burst that Forellenlord's putting down. And he's picked up that KG's lucky pick. So we've seen earlier in the day when Froggen was running Twisted Fate, he picked up the KGs but didn't finish the Twin Shadows until much, much, much later in the game. We'll see how Extra decides to play it, because, the option is available to him.
Yep, and right now between the 280 carries in terms of items, Vamp Scepter finished for Ashe, along with the dagger to upgrade his boots, and a single Doran's Blade on the other side. Longsword, double Doran's Blade for Caitlyn. Still has that pink ward available to throw down to maybe allow Svenskeren to come through that lane once again. We can see on the other side that there are plenty of wards down, actually, from the Wolves side as well on that bottom side. When I say the wards, they're obviously traps. Good job, Joe.
A huge number of those little cupcake traps laid around the place just to limit the number of entrances that Svenskeren has to move in there. But what I'd like to see from the Wolves right now is a little bit more wards, especially in that middle lane. You can see around the river area, they've got that single site ward just sitting by the entrance towards their blue golem, just so that if Extra does start moving towards the bottom lane, as he's doing now, you see if that vision is going to be gained. He was hinting towards a gank in the top lane, but then just decided to put that ward in the race camp, and that's exactly what I was expecting from Forellenlord. Get the vision in the bushes, make sure when Twisted Fate leaves the lane, that even if the calling isn't there, like calling SS or telling your teammates, they'll be able to see it. They'll see that little head popping up on the minimap, and it looks like Morden would like some more blood.
And Nigo, bro, obviously had a horrible time of it in that last game. Is going to be in trouble here because Twisted Fate is coming up as well. This is a 3-man gank on towards Kha'Zix. He is not getting out of this one. Morden again tanking up that tower. He's going to take one last hit, but again, the passive saving him.
29, 29, 29, 29. So much HP being regen there. He just tanks the turret, manages to pick up the kill with his ultimate there, or it wasn't even the ultimate, it was just a ferocious bite. Man takes a nom out of Godbro, and he's now 0-2. Even with 2 deaths to his name, he's keeping up on CS. So he's doing a very, very good job of keeping himself in farm-wise, He just needs to try maybe get a little bit more ganks, a little bit more assistance from Svenskeren to try and take some control back in that top lane.
Oh, and look at Frelnor just showing his mastery here of that Orianna. As I say, that Extermin actually gets a stun card on him. Wild cards hitting as well. It was actually Frelnor that was trying to steal the Wraiths away from Extermin. And that's one point that a lot of these mid lane players will make, that it's really worth it if you have the opportunity to take away those Wraiths as much as possible.
Yeah, the experience and the goal that it gives you and also denies the enemy team is just, insurmountable. You cannot put a number on how important that is. At the moment, though, Giants, they're doing well. They're out-farming most of the lanes. They've got the kill advantage, and they've got a noticeable gold lead. The ganks have been focused entirely on Godbro up in the top lane. They are more afraid of Kha'Zix than they are of anybody else. But for Ren Lord's Orianna, if they get into these team fight situations, if they start to group up, the shockwave, the dissonance, it is very, very powerful, and it could allow them to win team fights, especially with intervention and wild growth, helping Godbro out once they get to these, engagements and he starts diving in there.
Yeah, I think Godbro is going to be the key man in that one in terms of, he's going to have the ball on him. Yeah, technically Frelnor has to press the right buttons at the right time to help out as well, but it's Godbro that has to find the positioning to be able to jump towards the right place in that team fight for everything to really collapse in. As you said, intervention really will help him out in that, not allowing to not take any damage on his way in for that one, or to survive even longer, as the case may be. And in the whole time, then you've got, as soon as he does land, that wild growth to give them the big knock-up as well.
The Giants are going to be trying to focus on picking a target out, though. If you look at all of their abilities, the Cocoon, the Ash Arrow, the Gold Card, with the exception of the Crescendo from Babetta, and even, Volibear's a Rolling Thunder, where he tosses a single target backwards, they really just want to land an Ash Arrow onto somebody. If that stun starts to wear off, land a Gold Card or even a Cocoon and then chase. But it looks like Morden's coming in. The Ash Arrow completely whiffs.
Yeah, it goes straight through the middle of them. Countdown, though, may get caught out. He's being slowed up. There's a Crescendo. Wild Growth comes in. Will it be enough to save him? Yes, it will. And look at this. Twisted Fate going to join the party. Great shockwave coming out of Frelnor. Jim Bones goes down. Extermin is fairly low. Can they finish him off, though? He flashes away from the ball. Morden is already on the safety of the tower, and what a great turnaround from Wolves.
Such awesome positioning there from Frelnor. He had the ball, I think, even on his own head, pulled everybody towards him. There was two members of the Giants on top of him, and allowed them to secure a kill. And this is going to be the first turret of the game for the Copenhagen Wolves. It'll even them up in terms of gold. And as soon as that Destiny was used, teleport came out from Copenhagen Wolves. Do they have enough to take Dragon? Well, Godbro's in trouble.
Godbro is in a little bit of trouble at the top. Samux here going to be looking to land a Cocoon onto him. Will land it? Will he keep going with the pressure? Yes, he will. Samux taking good damage there, though. And actually, in the end, they switch positions as the repel comes in and Godbro flashes to the other side. Dragon is being started as well.
Morden gets turned into a little munchkin as the Copenhagen Wolves finish off the Dragon. He starts to crawl away. Couldn't get in there. Couldn't land the smite. And the Copenhagen Wolves even up that goal difference. Godbro did well to survive that top lane. He only had the Tear of the Goddess in that top lane to survive against the Haunting guys and the Doran's ring of Samux. But nevertheless, only 10 CS behind, 2 deaths down, and the Giants are now turning on the pressure in this mid lane.
Yeah, they need to be careful, though. Here, Morden down to half HP with Orianna coming back in there with that blue buff. That's a lot of damage that can come out really quickly, but in the end, Giants say, well, we've done the damage that we could from the situation that we had. We're happy with that. We're going to back away. That Twin Shadow's done now, so if you compare that over to Frelnor, obviously, to Froggen from earlier when he played Twisted Fate, as you said, that was a much later thing for him on that, but a kind of rush in there for Exeter, so he really wants to be involved in these lanes. Obviously going to use that stun card to really lock down, but those Twin Shadows, the Ghost coming out to give the slow as well is going to be a real vital thing. Yeah,
and again, it just shows you the composition. They really want to pick somebody out. Get the Ghost onto somebody, land the rest of the single target stuns, blow them up. When the team fight breaks out, if the Copenhagen Wolves jump in, use their Crescendo almost defensively, really. I mean, you could have some flash Crescendos, but it really just looks like they want to single somebody out, get them down, and then turn the rest of the attention further. Over on the Wolves side, you've got a massive AoE composition here. In terms of the combat, you want to get Orianna pulling 2 or 3 together. You then want to get Godbro hitting them with the Void Spikes, landing on them with that leap of his and getting the Wild Growth, knocking multiple targets up in the air. And then just allow Svenskeren as much time as possible to get those Righteous Fury swings out. Just, splash, splash, splash. That's really what they want to be doing. It does mean, though, that if the Giants split well enough in a team fight, it could mitigate a lot of that AoE damage, and it'll mean the Wolves need to take a lot longer in getting them down. And the Destiny is coming in this bottom lane.
Let's see what they can do. The Ash Arrow is going to land onto Coutard. Very early wild growth. It's not going to be enough to save Coutard, though, and Extermin will manage to pick that one up. Didn't even use Twin Shadow that time. Didn't even need it. He was saving it in case Caitlyn had got any further away. Wolves are going to look to counter here by having a middle turret.
The amount of crowd control that went down onto Coutard was just way too high. In the top lane, Samux has evened out the turret, so that is 1-to-1 as Copenhagen Wolves take that mid lane turret. It should allow them to put some more pressure on the Dragon and, you know, the enemy jungle of the Giants if they decide to start warding it up. But this game is extremely even right now. They are, you know, each team is making the plays happen, but Giants being a little bit more aggressive with their, you know, ganks and with trying to play the enemy champions.
Let's have a look a little bit down the items now. While we may have a lull in the action, maybe not. The Twin Shadows come out. Svenskeren actually having to use the ultimate on himself. There is the shockwave. That could be what they need here, and it will be a kill coming out. Kayle gets the shield. Flash in from Samux. He will secure that kill there in the end. And that will bring us to 4-2. And just as I say, a lull in the action, all kicks off.
Yeah, being completely caught out. Svenskeren actually was trying to set up a gank there. He thought he was going to jump onto Twisted Fate. Forellen Lord was sort of baiting Morden and Extra into that particular engagement, but they didn't know that Samux was coming from that top lane. They have no vision in that part of their jungle. They didn't know that the Spiderling lady was moving past their race. She just came in from behind after the gold quarters landed a cocoon of her own, and then carried on picking up the, you know, landing enough damage to pick up the kill.
So now I think we are safer to talk a little bit more about the items. You see their Giants belts being picked up over 4 Giants. That one for Elise, the one for Volibear over on the other side, one with Kha'Zix. We actually saw yesterday Darian went in for the Trinity Force early as he could with Kha'Zix. This time around, Manamune finished along with that Giants belt. We got the Nash's Tooth already done for Kayle, Rod of Ages on the Orianna. AD carries similar kind of position that they're in, however the main difference being that BF sword for Ashe and just the pickaxe in there for Caitlyn. Got a second Doran's Blade from that though.
Does have that a little bit extra with that Doran's and is sitting on 1,500 gold, so Coutard will be very close to picking up that BF sword and evening out the gold difference between these two the two players. And I think once he starts, you know, to getting closer to that Infinity Edge, the Piltover Peacemakers are going to help so much, especially with this wave clear. Both teams have the ability to sit under their turret and just keep the minion waves at complete bay, and it's going to be up to each team to set up who picks the fights. Take a look at Svenskeren sneaking in from the tri-bush, though. He does decide to back away. Not 100% confident picking that fight, and the two members of Giants just start to back away quite safely.
Wolves pinging that one like crazy there. They knew that they'd come up, and they knew that they were trying to set up that trap from the spider and the bear, hanging out together to make it count. And Dragon will be up in a minute. We'll see which team can react to that one quicker. Actually, they see the damage coming out of Jimbones there, down in this bottom lane. Godbro trying to clear out desperately and force them away from that turret, but it's down to below half health. This could well be turret number 2 and the equalizer turret for Giants with this next wave or 2. I
imagine that might be the thinking. They might decide to try push this. If Giants have the timer on that Dragon, they might try to coincide the two, you know, push the tower down. You can see that Morden's Volibear is slowly starting to hint towards that Drake. It's up in 30 seconds, but it was the Wolves that picked up the previous Dragon, so they'll have the 2-second timer. It doesn't really look like everybody's setting up for it. You can see Caitlyn and Lulu, they're moving to the top lane to try and defend that inner turret, and with Twisted Fate and Volibear so close to that Dragon, we'll see if anybody does decide to go for it.
Yeah, both junglers got that smite up and ready. Samux, though, is in that top lane. He's hiding in the bush currently. Not really got many minions there with him. And just the non-presence of Samux even may be enough for Wolves to say, well, we don't really know where that Elise is. Is he going to be coming down towards Dragon? We need to be careful about that one. But now they've spotted him in that top lane. I'd imagine that they start to go down there. And as I say, that Kha'Zix is heading straight towards top. Lulu and Kayle are both around there. Obviously, Caitlyn in the bottom lane. Orianna still in the middle. So it would be a 4-on-4 down in that lane.
If they decide to go for it, of course, Giants are going to continue pushing. Another Ash Arrow completely whiffs. Coutard's dropped so low. Jimbo's continue landing auto attacks. A little bit of a late cleanse there. Now it starts shining the ace in the hole.
Yeah, they didn't flash in for the kill, and now Extermin taking a lot of damage. Jimbones is going to be the first one to fall, and Wolves, they've carved a massive opening for Dragon now with that one. Giants obviously were pushing in for the gank, but you have to give credit over to Coutard. He's managed to survive that one, and his team turn it around.
Yeah, so true. Got managed to stay alive long enough. Wild Growth was not even used by Deficio's Lulu, so that extra HP wasn't even needed in the background. You can see that Ferelnor has now just finished that Archangel Staff. He's going to have so much mana, almost finished for the Seraph's Embrace, 730 out of the 750. But the Giants are going to take the map objective of the tower, and you know, if you equate it in that sense, losing a kill but gaining the tower, I think they'll be relatively happy with that trade.
Yeah, you can see what that leaves them in terms of gold. They're almost 2,000 in the lead again. Neither team going for that Dragon. So individually, we have Orianna 300 gold ahead. Oh, actually, it's more like 500 gold if I could count. Between the AD carries, 6.6 to 6.3 in favor of Ashe. Top lane, 7.1 to 5.8. And that's the problem that Godbros really had. Obviously, in CS, he's not that far behind, but those 2 kills as they camped him out earlier on leaves him in a bit of a tricky position.
He doesn't have too much itemization either. You know, he's got that mana mune completed, working towards the Mirror Mana, sitting on a Giant Spell, got that Negatron Cloak, the Null Magic Mantle. So he's got little bits of everything. We do see them going very aggressive, though.
Yeah, we see the Shockwave land on Jim Bones. What can they do pushing forward, though? Slow comes in onto Extermin, and they've managed to completely repel that attack. That's a nice move out of Giants.
Yeah, the Jim Bones ultimate from Ashe, the Crystal Arrow, was just really well timed and well placed. It not only stunned up the Copenhagen Wolves, it put quite a powerful slow on them, and they managed to just buy them the time that they need to get away. What it has done, though, is it's allowed Copenhagen Wolves to get into this dragon, and they'll pick this one up for free, completely uncontested.
See Kale swinging that massive sword, and that will be the dragon, as you said, going down. Second one in a row for Wolves. Not quite right on the timer as it spawned this time around, but they managed to pick it up, and that's what the important thing is at the end of the day. That brings them back to just 700 gold deficit. Where's this next move going to come in here? I mean, we've seen Lichbane now being finished off by Extermin. That's going to help his split pushing abilities really a huge amount, which we saw in that last game. Twisted Fate can be a real big pain in doing stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really difficult to say because neither of these teams has really been super focused on pushing a particular lane. Samex has spent a lot of time up in this top lane. You know, he was hiding in that top bush as Godbro just walks past 2 Giants members. And, you know, they're trying this split push, and it's working relatively well. Samex has been farming, has been left unopposed for the most part, but there hasn't been a committed, focused effort from either team in pushing a particular lane or pushing a particular objective. There's been these little skirmishes where the bottom lane would pick a fight, and all of a sudden you'll have Teleport and Destiny coming, and top lane would have a gank, and all of a sudden you'd have Destiny coming in. But it isn't really showing their hands of how they want to play this game. I think Giants will be relatively happy to continue farming and just carry on stalling the game out, because when they want to pick a fight, it's going to be a lot easier for them to do so. Combo that Ashe Arrow into a Cocoon, into a gold card. It's a lot easier for them to pick an engagement than it will be for the Copenhagen Wolves, who have to throw everything they have on Kha'Zix and let him just dive, behind the enemy lines.
That was a nice move from Giants. Well, they had that pink ward down to spot. They saw Ferelnor actually backing away. He's now back, and they couldn't quite get the damage down on that tower. But in principle, they could have had that one away. Obviously, didn't have the minions there. They didn't want to tank it up too much in case Wolves decided, right, game on, we're going to dive straight on top of you. But as you said, bit more of a passive time. You can expect it as well. When you think about the position of these two teams in that league, 0 for 4 Wolves. They don't want to lose 5 games in a row. That's in any sport a devastating start to any league campaign. They don't want that here today, even though the circumstances pretty much dictate that should on paper happen to them here today. They showed against Gambit that it definitely doesn't have to be that way in the end.
Yeah, and they've got the ability to do so. They've got the ability to win. They can pull it out. I mean, they did so well in the early stages of their matchup against Gambit Gaming. They just need to find the right moment to do so. I noticed a few minutes ago that Ferelnor finished the home guard on his boots, so he does have that teleport. He has the ability to come flying out of absolutely nowhere, and if you combo that with the amount of damage he can put down, that might be their opening play. That might be how they decide to get in there. But take a look at Exter on the minimap. He's moving closer and closer to Ferelnor, and it does look like the rest of the Giants members are coming back as well.
Exter just about missing his chance in there, and not sure if he'd really want to take that fight heads up against the Orianna as well. Obviously, very tanky, as we are going to see the Ashe Arrow landing in there, but look at Ferelnor steaming through here onto Samex. Actually, Samex will flash away there in the end. Ferelnor had the opportunity to lock him down with the shockwave, but decided against it.
Jim Bones deserves mad credit there from the Giants members. They could see the teleport was coming in, and the crystal arrow was thrown into that bush. Again, stunning up the Copenhagen Wolves. A defensive Ashe ultimate, but it does work. But look at the damage he's taken from this poke. He's got to be very careful if they decide to jump in on this engagement, because Forellian Lord may be able to blow him up at 50% HP.
Yeah, if they want to take that chance, Shockwave is one of the best things to do. It's Twisted Fate. He's going to use his ultimate. He's going to come in to the south of this tower, though, which means they are going to have that vision for a couple of seconds, but Wolves in no immediate danger from the backside as the stun card does come down. There's a Shockwave onto Samex, like we said. Good crescendo comes out, but better Wild Growth goes in onto Svenska, and no kills resulting from all those ultimate blown, but here comes Godbro. He dives once, he dives in twice, gets the intervention. Can they keep going on this one? They've managed to take the turret. Jim Bones went very low. They've taken one kill for nothing. They're going to be happy.
That was the fight that the Copenhagen Wolves needed right at the end as the intervention was wearing off. Godbro just sidestepped the cocoon coming out of Elise. It was really nicely done, but a great reaction there from Exeter. The command attack and distance came down, and as the shockwave was about to be casted, he flashed out of it. He put himself out of that danger zone, allowed him to stay alive a little bit longer. After Godbro decided to recommit to that engagement with the intervention, he did eventually go down. They lost the turret, and that was the play that Copenhagen Wolves needed to. And it was like we said, they were just going to throw everything at it, just put everything on the back of Godbro's Kha'Zix and allow him to try and nom people.
Just seen Warmogs for Kha'Zix being picked up as he went back, actually picking up the red pot as well to get back into the fight. Volibear got that Warmogs as well as a Negatron Cloak. Obviously, we do have the Crystal Scepter finish here for Elise as well. What else did we have picked up? Infinity Edge, Zeal, and the Crit Cloak actually for Ashe. So Infinity Edge there. Phantom Dancer incoming. On the other side, kind of similar situation as well, almost as if Kautar's copying the build from the other side. He's got that Infinity Edge, got the Vamp Scepter in there, and he's also got the Zeal. A little bit behind though, no Crit Cloak just yet.
And you know what, you got to give full credit to Kautar here. He's been put into this AD position role and, has been playing mid all of the rest of the LCS matches. His positioning has actually been very good for the majority of his previous game and this one as well. He's never really been overextended. The few times he has been jumped on, as we see Svenskeren getting caught out, we're going to see Morden trying to come up from this lane, but Svenskeren takes quite a lot of damage from that Elise.
Yeah, quite a lot it was indeed, and the shield was even on him as well from Orianna, so some of that would have definitely been negated from that, as we are going to see Twisted Fate. He's going into middle here, trying to lock down Kautar.
And take a look at that, the cleanse comes out, immediately just starts running away. Finally the Twin Shadows comes out, but Kautar, he just waited. Gold card had landed, Crystal Arrow landed, and as you thought he's about to go down, he just cleansed and effectively walked away.
And that's the beauty of the cleanse.
Exactly. Really good use of cleanse. Those defensive summoner spells we're seeing more and more often on these AD carries, and especially against this team. The amount of stuns and snares and everything that they have available to them, it's a very powerful pickup. Giants look like they're going to pick up this dragon, as Wolves are looking to contest, but they're a little bit outnumbered if they pick this fight.
Yeah, this would be a 3-on-4, and as they do go in, we are going to see Giants take it down, and Wolves back straight away. Or are they? Because Svenskeren actually will get a couple of hits off there, but not really the amount that they would have wished. And that leaves us with still a very close gold count, 40.7 to 39.2. Let's see how Wolves are going to really react to this one. Actually looking like they're going to push down towards the jungle of Giants. The blue buff is available for the taking, and imagine that they push out this lane first though.
Well, Exeter is there on the bottom lane. He has Destiny available relatively soon. About 25% of the cooldown is available, so he's just going to be split pushing. He's got all the movement speed from that Lich Bane available to him, and just, shoving lanes down as only Twisted Fate can. He notices that there's a number of Copenhagen Wolves members still in that middle lane, so he's just going to take the time to deal all of this free damage to the tower. He's probably going to get this tower before he starts to back.
Well, Friendlord running out of base here with those home guard boots off, but as he said, not going to be quite fast enough. Thought he was going to go aggressive there, pop the speed boost onto himself. As we see, that blue buff is available for the taking here for Giants. Samex and Morden are both there. And support player coming around as well, but they're going to be happy if they're able to secure this blue buff away. For Elnod actually moving in on top of a ward. The blue buff was taken there by Giants, but again, they're forced to back away. Morden actually took that one in the end.
The Copenhagen Wolves are going to need to get more vision here. You can see Babetta's running around with the Oracle's Elixir, so he's busy clearing out as many wards as is possible. But if you look at the minimap, there's just not a lot of vision for the Copenhagen Wolves. I flicked over to see what they could see during that blue buff invade, and they had no idea. They had no sight in the river, in the enemy side of the jungle, in their side of the jungle, and they were fairly lucky in that as soon as they face-checked the blue buff, the majority of the Giants players were pulling the blue away, towards the river. But if they were grouped up in the grass there, it could have been one of those face-check, lose-a-champion situations. So a little bit lucky there. Giants once again pulling a little bit ahead with this gold, 2,000 right now. But at this stage in the game, it's such a small number. It's, relatively insignificant. And it just comes down to these engagements. Whoever can pick the fight with the better circumstances seems to be winning. Giants have been making the plays in the early game. The Wolves have been making the plays in this mid-game. And they've currently got a little bit more map control.
Yeah, I think that map control is going to be important in the long run as well for them. If they can't have vision of their own side of the map, they certainly can't expect to be able to dominate in the enemy side as well from that. You've got to be able to see what you're doing. And I expect that to come down here at some point, especially around that Baron area, which, people are starting to get up to level 17s. Not quite an 18 in there yet, but certainly you can see that Elise and Twisted Fate are both level 17. And they are at that stage of the game where they probably could get in there and take it away. If you've not got any vision, that can be a crucial mistake that can lose you a game. Yeah,
and take a look at this. Babetta may be caught out. The Asher comes up once again, defensive and so on point. But Godbros decided to pick his engagement. He's leaped forward. He's going to carry on fighting as Morden tosses him over his shoulder and says, no, you shall not pass. You will not get to Jimbones. Is in stealth, continues chasing, flashes forward onto Jimbones. Once again gets tossed backwards. The slow is onto Jims as the wild growth is up. He's been slowed. Can Godbro get it with the intervention?
They can't quite get in there as we see him leaping in once again. I thought Morden was going to throw him back on towards the tower then. That didn't quite work out for him though. But one thing that Wolves has done here is done a lot of damage to that Giants lineup. They forced them to back away from this inhibitor turret, and it's not going to be a dive like we saw from the last game against Gambit. They're actually pushing out as Samox comes in from the side, but Wolves have left a naked inhibitor behind.
They'll be happy with the turret. They'll be happy that when they decide to go aggressive, they can pick it up. And I was talking about the map control. I was talking about how they had the turret advantage, but Exeter is just split pushing and going to be waiting to use that Destiny almost defensively. Is going to actually start using it up. We'll see he's going to dive into in the middle lane. For Ellenlord's been caught out. The command protector is up. There is no wild growth. He's actually used the shockwave as well to make sure Exeter doesn't go any further, and he survives the gank. But the question is, how do Wolves stop the split push? How do they answer, what do they use to answer Twisted Fate?
Oriana's got to go there. I mean, she's the one with the teleport, which is right now not up, obviously. Yeah. But that's really the one thing that they've got to be safe with this one. They can't allow that Twisted Fate to be down there and send someone that can't get into the fight. As Baron here is almost going to go down. They tried for the steal. Didn't work out for them. Svenskeren puts the ultimate on himself. They're hammering away at Samox, but he just gets out of range of Kautard. And that will be a 1-for-1 engagement as the repel comes in. That was a brilliant move from Samox to keep himself. He would have died there.
Great repel. I wonder if it would have caught one of the little spiderlings, maybe just on the way out, but an awesome use of that, just making sure that he mitigates the spell, gets away from the damage and survives. But Kautard's positioning was great. We've seen, if I remember, it was CLGNA picking up a very sneaky Baron a couple of months ago without even going into the Baron pit. They just had Caitlyn sitting on the outside, using that massive range, and Kautard was putting damage down the entire time that Svenskeren was in there and staying alive with the intervention. But a number of members of Giants with this Baron buff on, they're in the position of power. They've got the gold lead, they've got the stats lead, with the exalted Baron Nashor buff helping them out. I think they're going to be looking to make some plays now.
And that was a good one as well from Giants, because let's not forget, just before that they lost one man. A couple of them were very, very low. They forced them away. Yes, that Twisted Fate move into middle didn't actually get them a kill, but what it ensured was that Ellenlord was super low and had to go back to base. And then they went just straight into Baron because they knew that Wolves weren't going to be there as a 5-man unit and therefore shouldn't be able to take Baron. Okay, Svenskeren flashed over the top and tried to get the steal in the end, but it worked out. It was a big power play from Giants.
Yeah, and they're now in this power position. Not only did they, get the buff and put themselves in a good position, they picked up a number of key items as well. If you look at the itemization there on the bottom left, Elise managed to pick up Leandri's Torment and Warmog's armor with her last back, which is a massive, massive spike in damage and defense, On the same token, Babetta was able to pick up that Runic Bulwark, which you can see is not in the hands of Copenhagen Wolves. And in actual fact, if I look at it, I don't even see an Aegis of the Legion there as well. So the defensive statistics is really going to be helping out the Giants. That magic resist to handle the splash from Kayle as well as that burst from Ellenlord.
Yeah, they're going to have to hope that the intervention's enough, really, to be tanking through the damage that's going to come down. The Rabadon's Death Cap is finished on Twisted Fate now as well. Obviously, Infinity Edge Phantom Dancer for the AD carry. Just wondering how much gold he's actually sat on there as well, the Ash. That's why. I was going to say, I'm sure he had those items about 10 minutes ago. Not quite 10 minutes ago, but he's actually sat on above 3,000 gold. And as I say, that Bloodthirster is finished.
Yeah, it's a huge spike again. You're going to spend that money, put that in the back pocket, get that lifesteal. Once we get those stacks up, the damage is going to be, even higher, even more, more impactful. Kaltard is only about 1,700 gold behind, though. So you can see him sitting he is 1,700 behind. He's still got 1,700 in the bank, so he's going to be able to even out that damage a little bit. But I think if they can keep him safe, he's got the range to do so. He's got the champions that'll be able to keep him, in the back line. I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on him in these upcoming team fights to get as much damage possible and really turn the tide of it, because Giants are going to be focusing Kayle, Orianna, and Kha'Zix, because they're going to be the ones that are in their face with that shorter range.
We saw Kaltard there doing 2 or 3 hits, or maybe even 4. But either way, it didn't really hurt Morden. That's the problem that they have going on right now. As we can see again, Giants are pushing down in towards this bottom lane. It's Jimbones that's actually gone down there. He's hitting for about 850 when those crits come in, which they're doing with the Phantom Dancer, that Infinity Edge in there as well. And he is very, very dangerous. Not to mention the fact that he has the arrows. We are going to see Twisted Fate coming in.
It's just going to fizzle, unfortunately, because... Yeah. Leap to safety, get himself away from the gold card. He's seen the positioning and, had very good reaction times to move away there, but it does allow them to take the tower. Ferenor has been caught up by Jimbones. Who's going to win this fight?
Well, it's looking like it's Jimbones as he flashes in, but what a flash over the wall from Ferenor. In comes Deficio with the Lulu to finish off the kill. And there were 2 flashes that were brilliant in their own right, but Ferenor getting the advantage in terms of getting away.
Take a look at this now. Godbros leap forward, tosses out those missiles, it puts a slowdown, but Exter, great reaction once again, uses the Twin Shadows, slows both Kaltard and him, but Ferenor is teleported in, motoring with those boots on fire. Can he get a kill onto Samux?
He's going to get right on top of Samux, but the problem is that Shockwave is down from that last encounter, and I don't think he's going to have the control without it. Samux will walk away, and actually they did have Extermin in that bush waiting as well, just to try and turn things around. And
very, very important about that is the fact that Teleport is down. Teleport is not available to them. Ferenor was relatively smart in his positioning there because he ran along the grass. He didn't step into that top lane until the home guard buff had sort of worn off and that massive flame trail behind him had stopped. So I think the Giants will have been, knowledgeable enough to say, all right, look, Ferenor was low, he went back to heal, so most likely Teleport is down. But by not showing the movement speed earlier, it just makes him question it a little bit. And for the duration of that Teleport being down, Exter's Twisted Fate split pushing is really going to help them. And I think you see Morden was split pushing there on the bottom lane as well. Giants, they don't really want to pick a single engagement here. They've got that single target spell focus, blow somebody up, and then take a map objective, and they're just going to keep split pushing until the Copenhagen Wolves make something happen.
One problem that they have there is that obviously Extermin can't split push that bottom lane because he's not going to be able to get into position with the Destiny because of the range limitation on it. Obviously the teleport is down and Extermin at the end of the day will be closer to it there at the end, but that's not something that they want to risk any kind of 4 versus 4 encounter there. And as we can see, Wolves are coming down now in towards this open inhibitor. Morden just runs in there as the Ash Arrow going to land onto Godbro.
Intervention comes down, the shockwave goes out. I think that whiffs absolutely everybody. Babetta landed a very nice crescendo on the back line of Copenhagen Wolves, but because he was with 3 members of the Wolves, they could smell blood and they shut him down. Svenskeren is the next one to fall in this particular engagement, but the Wolves are running back. They don't have the damage to close this out. Kaltard has been untouched up until this particular engagement, and this is messy. Triple kill for Jimbones as once again he's been left untouched. That'll be the quadra for him, and the final penta steal from Morden. Passive ticking away. That was a huge engagement. Gonna carry on chasing down the lane.
That shockwave.
It missed everybody.
It missed everyone.
Didn't do a thing.
The thing is, I think he had it on Kha'Zix, who was supposed to jump in, and then he was supposed to press the button, and I think he hit it too early. I think he hit it before that Kha'Zix actually jumped in. I'm sure with the help of a replay we could nail it down properly, but it didn't pick anyone up, and that was the real big thing in that fight. And now Jimbones, he did take a bit of damage, but he was pretty much the entire time hammering away at them. Gets rewarded at the end of it with a quadra kill. They're going to be taking down this inhibitor turret. There's still a good 10 seconds on Wolves to come up here. Svenskeren does come back up just in time. Now the Baron is available. Now this is going to be interesting because Giants have Morden fairly low. He's their big tank in this lineup, and I'm wondering if Wolves are going to say, right, spawn, full HP, Baron, go.
You also have to give, we are going to jump into a replay of that particular fight as we wait for these two teams to set up. Joe, take us through this one.
Yeah, so here we see once again that shockwave in. Actually, it was a little bit too late. That was after that happened. No, there it is. The shockwave went down, and it didn't hit any of them. They tried to put it on Nigot Pro. It was on the steps themselves, and it didn't really do what they needed. We know what happens after this. Let's switch back into the live game because we are going to see both teams starting to get around Baron.
While we see that the Baron has been started, we do need to give props to Babette's crescendo there. It locked up members of the Copenhagen Wolves. Now take a look at this. The Ash arrow is coming out. Godbro's been stunned up. Baron is bashing away behind him, but the Wolves are grouped up as a tight-knit 5. Can the Giants get in there and separate them?
This is going to be a tough one for Wolves. We saw Morden was the scary bear running them away from that one. Baron, of course, has got no damage on it right now. Did reset itself. And Wolves at the back of things. They've got that Oracle on, so they're able to clear what's thrown down towards the back of the pit, as Baron is going to be started off here. Jimbones doing a couple of hits onto it, but Wolves at the back, they're still there as a unit. Well, are they going to have the health when they go in? Are they going to have the coordination to land that all-important shockwave where it needs to be?
And where do they put their focus as well? Because Ash is going to be behind this Elise, behind the Twisted Fate Ghosts, behind the Gold Card, behind the Bear. And, you know, they've got this really big interference team that's also a huge amount of damage. I mean, Volibear, if left unchecked, has got that execution on his friends. He has the ability to deal a lot of damage. And Jimbones has finished a Guardian Angel. So not only has he got all of this damage and this really great, you know, frontline bear protection, he's going to come back to life once you've killed him. So the Giants are in a very, very good position. They've got a great 10,000 gold lead. And it just looks like they want to brute force this middle lane inhibitor.
Yeah, and that's a great move as well from Giants to push that lane right out there. They've stuck a ward in so that they've got vision of everything coming down. They can quite happily start Baron here and then peel off of it afterwards because they're going to know exactly when Wolves come down through that jungle. Their wards are going to disappear as Deficio takes them down, but that's what they can do. As Wolves here are actually headed down that middle lane now, with both teams having a naked inhibitor. Either of them could like do this whole run around the side and go for that inhibitor and push in for the base race, as we are going to see the Ash Arrow coming down onto Pharrell. They're going to be forced to fight.
Well, the Wild Growth comes out, he immediately knocks everybody up, but the intervention was on top of that as well. Godbro's gone so deep. He's the first one to be dropped. They immediately reply into Samex. That's both of the top laners down. Now the Wolves jungler is out of this. Do the Wolves have enough damage to win this battle? With Kautar down, that's another triple gale for Jimbones' Ash. As you can see, Exeter closing the fourth kill of the battle out. Deficio's on a run, but look at the bear. He is chasing, he is running. Eats a Glitterlance. It's not going to be enough. The Majestic Roar comes out, and it doesn't do anything. Deficio carries on running, lands a Glitterlance. Morden wants this kill. Morden wants to nom. The fear comes out, doesn't do anything, I'm afraid. And the biggest chase of the game so far gets Deficio away and allows Giants to get the inhibitor.
Well, he stayed alive, but I'm not sure that his team's going to be able to suffer the same fate from this one. They've got minions coming in here to tank up those turrets. The Home Guard boots, well, they're not really going to be helping him out here because he doesn't have the damage. He's going to polymorph Morden down. He's going to get in there and just try to be annoying right up front with them. But Giant's going to focus him down super quickly. There is the very much delayed ace, and we are going to see Giants take out the next